Hello students, how are you guys doing? So I am going to begin working on a watercolor design that maybe you decide to join in. And I have my watercolor palette here. It includes colors that are metallic and basic colors. You can get watercolors. You can also get your jar of water, and in that I have two different type of brushes. I have a square angle brush and I have a round fine tip brush. You also need a rag of some sort so that you can keep your brush from being too overloaded with water. Now we are going to create watercolors, so that ideal has water, and we're going to do a wet on wet technique where we are going to take water only first and wet the paper, especially in the area that we're going to work with first. And I'm going to create a sunset lake painting landscape. I was out at the lake and I saw the beautiful sunset coming through, and I took a photo of it and I thought, wow, how serene. And so I decided that I'd just come home and paint it and have you guys maybe follow with me. And you can also do this and shoot me a Google Classroom invite to show, not invite, upload to show me that you've done it. That would be awesome. And it's just for relaxation, okay? Now we already wet our paper, so we're gonna take the yellow by itself and we're gonna lay in where that sun will go. And notice that I did not make a complete circle for a sun. I just wanted to show where the sun will lay. And even where the sun rays will lay on that water. Now in the sun rays, we're going to use some warm colors. So I'm going to take that beautiful yellow and blend it with an odd color that you wouldn't think to do that. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of magenta. Told you you wouldn't think that I'd do that, right? And I'm going to draw a line, dabbing that paper towel on my brush so it's not too much water. And I'm going to draw myself in a horizon line, mixing that pink, magenta, and the yellow. And yes, as you see, it made an orange. But check it out. I can change that orange into a darker shade, like red orange, or by adding more red with magenta. Or I can take, oh beautiful, that color and add more yellow. So you see here in this section, I added more yellow to that magenta and it made more yellow orange. So I'm going to create that reflection. And this is why I love this angle brush. It has a nice straight edge to it. And even if I didn't have this straight edge brush, I can just angle brush. I could use a regular brush and kind of go horizontal with it, one stroke. And I'm leaving some white on my canvas. Okay, I'm leaving some white on the canvas of the watercolor paper. And that's going to allow the light to reflect on that water. I don't have to saturate my whole paper with color. I don't have to do that. So I'm now going to add a little more pink as I start going toward the foreground some. Alright. Even more darker pink. I have not gotten to the point where I'm ready to add any more colors, darker ones. Not just yet. Because I like to paint dark to light. Light to dark, excuse me. Light to dark. And that is so that if I come to a point where I've made a little boo-boo, a little mistake, I can easily take water with my brush and kind of erase that flaw away. Now this is going to be my sky here. And I'm going to put that yellow reflecting from that sun even in my sky. Okay. And the sun was really setting, rising so beautifully over the hills. And as you see, I haven't put those hills that right there yet because I want to lay down the basic foundation colors. Now I'm taking my flat brush. You're going to notice a different texture here. I'm taking the flat part of my brush to actually lay down the sky texture. I want to change the texture to show difference in the foreground and the middle ground. And so in my foreground below, I'm using these sharp edges, harder lines, going left to right with the tip of my brush. But then you can see how I went flat, right there, flat of the brush. And we can even change the value of our brush strokes and color by just putting water only. That's going to lighten up the value. And if I use more paint than water, it's going to darken that value. Just as you see right there, it's just darkened. Now because this is a watercolor painting and this is water that we're painting in the foreground, let's pay close attention to the fact that what is painting here on this foreground is reflection of the sky in the background. So this is where here I've taken a little bit of that blue and mix it with some magenta. Dab it on the paper towel because I don't want it to be too soaking wet. Okay, and I'm going to create that hill of trees that I saw in that camera, and it's going to go across that sun ray. And I love how it is starting to blend in with even the blue, the orange and the reds. And this is going to be a really quick study. Over in this area is going to be mostly trees. But I know behind the trees, I have a sky. See how that drips on? No big deal. I just take my paper towel and I dab it. That's a little more magenta there with that blue. And as that magenta fades into the sky, it overlaps into that sunset, creating a nice, beautiful wash of colors. And we're sticking in the same family of colors. That's why we can blend so nicely. Obviously, I wouldn't put any purple on top of green. Not right now if I don't want that muted color, okay? Now I'm going to keep going. I'm trying not to use any pure colors from my paint palette. I'm trying to do more mixing of colors, okay? Now I did a flat part right there with that the water. Now I'm going to start creating that horizontal line pattern that's showing on top more water. Okay, Again, I'm using the colors that are reflecting up at the top into the water, okay? Eventually, I'm going to have some trees up there, and the lines of the tree, like this one, would reflect from the top. Look at that. Good reflection. Okay. Small lines to show those tree branches. I'm not going to put any leaves or branches up here right now. I do want to switch over to my my smaller brush when I start doing that, okay? And this is just a quick tutorial for you. If you wanted to do some painting while we are at home. Now notice how now my colors are starting to get a little more saturated. It means they're getting darker, pulling in more depth. That is because I have reached the bottom of the foreground where that ground is about to start sitting and separating from that water. Okay? And when that happens, things in the foreground are darker in saturation than up close in the background. In the background, you want to show things lighter in value. That gives the appearance that it's fading away. It's further away than the things that are up front. All right? So let's keep going. Let's add a little bit. Reflections, dark reflections up here. Notice how I'm not getting very dark. Not adding too much of those dark reflections. I want to go in and fill in a lot here at that bottom. And I'm using that magenta with a little bit of the blue. And you notice now that I am not using hardly any black. So let's talk about that for a second. When I'm not using black, it's because there wasn't any black in the water. It was all darker reflections from the trees. But when they reflect in the water being, I think at the time it was a little muddy, you know, how when you're going fishing and the water looks dark and muddy and it has browns in it and blues and purples from the sky, and it's just really multiple colors reflecting on that water. That's what I was seeing. And so I want to try to accomplish that. Now here I'm putting some purples and a little bit of blue reflecting, because in this area I'm going to create this area with a lot of trees, because there was a lot of trees in that area, but they got really small and some was tall and some even curved in. So I'm going to fill that up with trees later and the branches, okay? And there was a tree that was right here, but it was more in the center. But I don't want to do anything in the center. And so I've divided my paper into thirds. 1/3, 2/3. And I got really, really close to the center for this tall tree. But I think it's a good balance because that sunset is like right to the left of it. And here would be my center. So I'm almost safe right there. Just almost, right? Now here is the space that a lot of more trees were. And again, this angle brush is allowing me to put a lot more angles in without going into a small detail brush. Getting a lot of darkness from my purples and my magentas and my blues that express black than I am just using black. I love the idea of using color instead of a lot of deep colors, okay? Now I'm going to take some blue here, just blue by itself this time. Add in to give it more depth. That's why right here I didn't quite like having too much blue there. So look what I just did. I took some water and I just erased that darkness out. Yes, it is just that simple sometimes when you have blue that is so dark and you want to get rid of some of that. Yeah, just simply take that water and brush it away. Now, I'm trying not to have a color that is opposite or not in this family to be separating the two. Like here is an orange and underneath I had blue, right? Well, that doesn't work because that's not color harmony. So what I did was I took some magenta and now I'm going to put a little bit of orange on that magenta and see how that really made that transition from orange to violet and then blue much better. Now I'm going to take, blend away, fade it, because I don't like strong lines, not too many of them. And this is a watercolor, so we want it to look washy, right? Have that wash of color. Be careful for drips. I had a little small drip there for a second. Again, a lot of reflection in the water coming from the trees that are up above. This is coming to life, and I'm still not even halfway finished because above I need to start transitioning into my sky. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to take, and I have my metallic paint here. And in my metallic, I have white. I also have white on my watercolor tray. So I can use either one. And I'm going to put water and blend into my white. And I'm going to grab a little bit of magenta. And I'm going to grab a little bit of, let's say yellow, okay? Yellow. Let me see if I can get the type of sky color that was really there. Okay, all right. It's a little dusky. I think I want to add a little more magenta to that though. All right, there it is. There it is. Now, and again, I'm using the flat part of my brush. That yellow is still there. I'm using that flat part I want for my sky to look like my water. Not at all. Taking more yellow now. Fading it. As that sun rise was really strong into that sky. Okay. More magenta. Using the flat part. There was a swipe in the sky. So I swiped it over to the left. I'm going to bring in a little blue from the sky. But I'm not just going to go blue. I'm going to use a color here so that it fades gradually. So I did a little blue with the magenta. Yeah, that helped. All right, it's too dark. Wash my brush. Fade it. Excellent. Fade it with just water by itself. Now, I'm ready to start showing more blue for this guy. Be careful to not get that blue blended into that yellow. What's going to happen? It's going to give a little green. And for this painting, Really don't want to express too much green, okay? Taking white now, just water by itself. It has a little bit of blue in it, white and blue. Perfect. Adding some of that lighter sky values in. Nice little wash, white and blue. And you do not have to have watercolor paints to get this illusion, okay? You can use gouache if you have it. You can use acrylics if you have it. You can just take those acrylic paint and just water them down more. You don't have to have just watercolors to get this water faded and blended technique. You can use, again, more water than paint. And so I see here where this is a little dark there. So let me transition, blend it away. See how I took that line away by blending it in a little more into that sky? Because the sky, in my opinion, when I looked at it, it didn't have any strong lines in it. Sometimes when we look at a sky, yeah, we do see those strong lines, but just not often, okay? It had this kind of a long sky look. It's the best way I can explain it. Like the sky, the clouds were really long, elongated. I don't know if you've ever seen that. I'm sure you have. Now notice how I put the basic color, flat color down, and now I'm coming in to add more details of that sky by putting in some faded lines, not strong, but faded, white, magenta, and blue. White, magenta, and blue. Look how I'm doing that with the side of that brush, not the tip, because if I did the tip, it'll look like the texture of the water, and we don't want the texture of the water. I'm leaving some white even there so you can see that there's some white clouds, okay? And a nice gradual fade here. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Just allow that sun reflection to stay there. I haven't put much of anything in that section there, because I don't want to disturb the sun ray. Don't touch. Talk to myself through that. I noticed that was a little too dark, so I'm going to take my water and kind of fade it away a little bit. If you have to dab with your paper towel, you can even do that. When it comes to getting a lighter value. Let me express a little more boldness for this sunset. I added a little more that yellow in that area. I really want to allow that sun to reflect through those clouds. Yes, yes. Let's throw some more down here at the bottom. Not too much. That would be too much. Let me put that orange back in there, okay? And some more orange over here. There we go. There we go. Orange, yellow, and red makes our orange, okay? So if you run out of orange, you know what two colors to make. Now, Guys, guess what? The less you use pure colors, the better. That means that the more you mix primary and secondary colors together, somehow it makes your painting look better. Alright? So keep that in mind as you're working. I don't want any white. But obviously I don't want that orange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, fade a little bit of yellow, and then my paper towel, erase out some of that, or a towel. We're not using a lot of paper towels in my house for painting. Get rid of that in that center. Try not to dig too much into your paper, okay? Because it will clot it up. To make an area look lighter, you put a darker color next to it. So there you go, right there. Now that just helped that sunset to look even brighter in that area. Good. So we have our sky and our background finished. So what I'm going to do is let me now focus a little more on creating those tree branch stems. And this is where I'm going to put some dark blue. And now I'm going to sprinkle a little black. Dark blue and black, guys. I'm doing this stroke here. Faded out branches, leaves and branches. As I go to the tip, I go smaller. Go to the tip, smaller. I go toward the bottom, wider. Fill it in. It's almost using the tip of this skinny brush. There it is. I'm going to keep it going. Using that dark blue, magenta, and a little black. You want to emphasize the line of the tree as you're still putting in those leaves. It's fading in. Little lines that hint an impression of the tree leaves. Little broken dash lines on both sides of the branch. Be very careful to get lighter and lighter toward the sun. That's why you haven't seen me dip back into my black. It's because I wanted to lighten up so it's fading into the colors of the background better. It's awesome. Got some branches hanging off. Creating another tree. Over here, it's a little bit of those. There we go. In the water, the same things happen, but it's upside down. So you want to reflect that. It's almost like little dash lines over and over on top of each other. Oh, I miss you. Keeping this same reflective background. All right. What I have on the bottom, top, I'm mimicking to the what? The bottom. Yes, I am. I step back from what I'm doing, okay? Make sure you're doing your lean back. You step back and you look at what you have so that you aren't putting too much information. Again, this is a watercolor design and I really want it to be expressionistic, showing more water and more colors. And if you decide that, hey, I don't want those colors, yes, feel free to use the colors of your heart desire. Remember we talked about that in art class about how I could give you an assignment and I wanted you to be free to express the colors that of your choice by yourself, okay? And this, because this is a quick study, I did not want to spend more than 20-30 minutes on it. Just to show you a little bit of something that you can do at home. Fading now the bottom, blending. Beautiful. All right. Didn't have many white clouds on that day, so let me fill in just a little more over here at this top. I'm going to get a little darker up there for that sky, left to right. You know, I want to switch over to my sky brush, this one that I had. Mixing that blue with that white, okay? There we go. And that blue and that white. And again, I use that metallic white. So as this dries, it's going to have a little bit of shimmer. That's how I like to do it. There we go. Yes. There we go. Be your own artist today. Following with this demonstration. Get in what you need. You know what I need to do, guys? Let me throw a little bit of that down there. Wow, that made it pop. I like what happy accidents or things that just pop off of my head to do. I don't think twice sometime about it. I just do it. I want to see how it looks. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a rebel. Not really. But I like to see how something would look if I took what was up here, that white metallic with that blue, and faded it down in here. Wow. Now that sky reflects through those trees. Let me throw some magenta back there. There we go. Yeah. I like it. Magenta with a little bit of the white, metallic white. If you don't have metallic white, just regular white. How about that? Get that shimmer. We don't want to get too dark down there, so let me not go overboard, right? You know, I can keep going on and on and on in the painting. But sometimes we don't need to do that. We need to see what we have and stop when it's necessary to stop. Let me express this here foreground just a little better for you guys. There it is, right there. Gave it more depth. Gave it just a little more depth. Separating the sky from the ground. Reflections down here of what's so dark. Dark blue and magenta is what I used. It's the opposite down here. So this heel down there will be opposite down here. Reflection. That's it. And I'm going to stop right there, because if I go too far, it's going to become more of a photorealistic painting. And that's not what I want. I want it to be more expressionistic, okay, and more watercolor style, right? So as I look at it, I can see a good reflection. I see the sky has a different texture than the bottom. I see the trees in that background, and yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. Almost. Let me get a more yellow orange. I'm going to put some more yellow orange somewhere, guys. Right here. Yeah. That's what I wanted to do. Right there. That's it. Did that help? I think that. That's it. All right. Now then, step back from your art to make sure, yes, you're done. Okay. Yeah. Thumbs up. So if you like this video, please click thumbs up, subscribe, and even share it on your social media with other students that maybe need some fun things to do. Miss Tia, Miss Sherman loves you so much, and I miss you all, and I wish you all the best. See you soon.